Happy New Year. I'm drinking an excellent barrel-aged imperial stout from Sierra Nevada called the Narwhal. This is awesome. A really great friend of mine brought this over for me. So, anyway, how are y'all doing? I've been doing well. It's January. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I think a lot of you guys are musicians who watch this channel. Probably everybody is, but I guess what I mean is I think a lot of you are probably working musicians. I think there are some other guitar players in town, elsewhere in the world, who make a living playing music. And historically, this time of year can make you question your life and the decisions you made. I remember being a young guitar player in Nashville, and January would hit, and it would be the time when everybody is like, hey, we should get a coffee. Hey, we should hang out. Hey, we should talk, And you'd go grab a coffee or breakfast or lunch or whatever with another musician, and it would always turn to how much work you're not doing at this time of year. It's kind of that time of year when tours regroup and everybody worked so hard to get everything done at the end of the last year in this industry that they're just kind of slow to get things ramped back up again, particularly touring gigs. Most touring musicians I know, which is fewer and fewer these days because I've been out of that world so long, but most of the ones I know are typically pretty slow for a couple months in the beginning of the year. January and February are usually pretty light. Like, the touring schedule doesn't really pick back up until spring, and then you hit the summer festival season. And if you're touring to support a record, say you're playing with a bigger artist, that might not be true for you. But, some of those bigger artists, they might tour hard for a year and then take an entire year off. I guess everything all the things I'm saying are trying to get to this point that right now, and for the next several weeks, you might really be questioning, like, why do I do this? What in the world is going on? You just look at your calendar and you see weeks of empty or lighter than normal workload. And I guess I just wanted to say that's completely normal, particularly if you're a working person in the commercial music industry, if you're on a touring gig or something like that. Everybody has dry spells, literally everyone. And, well, every time I make an absolute statement like that, as I begin to continue talking, my mind goes, really? Are you sure? Are you double sure? Are you triple sure? And I think there's a couple guys who are just really busy all the time, I'm going to say something that's fairly controversial about that. And I'm going to say that I don't want to be that guy. I have a family. I don't want to be ultra busy all the time. As much street cred and what do I want to say, social currency as that carries, I want a healthy work-life balance. And so that leads to one of my points. The first point was, this is normal. It's not just you. That's the temptation at this time of year when you're between gigs, especially if you're newer and you haven't quite got all the momentum. You haven't quite got to a point where you are full-time just making all your money playing music. You can think that it's all you. You get this thing called imposter syndrome. Like, everybody found out I'm not legit or something. You say these ridiculous things to yourself in your mind. And I just wanted to say that that's not true. And if you are thinking those things, you're not the only one. Particularly, again, if you're on a touring gig or just something that is in a season of rest instead of a season of, oh my goodness, let's go hit the road and be playing shows 3 nights a week, or doing our giant 3-week West Coast run or something like that. The other thing that I want to say is that this is a good thing. This is your opportunity to regroup, work on things that you don't think you're necessarily great at. I think everybody knows what their weaknesses are as far as their playing is concerned. I know what mine are. um, it's your chance to, dig into other aspects of your life. Your life doesn't need to be consumed by music. Something that I was told really early on, before I decided to try to make a living playing full time. I met this really bizarre dude. I say bizarre, but he was very kind. He was just kind of strange. He was kind of out there, but he had this perspective on music and playing music that I have never forgotten. He told me, and he told a few of us that were all hanging out with him at the same time. He said, music is art, and art is a reflection of life. So if you think about reflective surfaces, right, they can never reflect more light than the object they're reflecting. So his point was, and the way that I take it, is that the quality of music and the level to which I enjoy it and am inspired as I play it can never exceed the quality of the life that I'm living outside of playing music. Does that make sense? And I've observed this in my own life, like in extremely busy spells, I feel like the rest of my life suffers. My enjoyment of life suffers. I start to miss my family. I get poor sleep. I'm probably dehydrated because I'm not drinking a ton of water or running to the bathroom between takes, just lots of things suffer. So if the music that you are creating, whether you're just playing a guitar or you're writing songs, or you're performing or whatever you're doing, if that's a reflection of the quality of your life, then you've got to be living your life outside of playing music. That seems very counterintuitive to what we think the industry wants to hear. In Nashville, everybody wants to hear, oh man, I'm busy. How busy are you? Busy? Man, it's just been so busy. Oh gosh, I'm just so busy. And it's kind of a subtle, indirect brag a little bit, or people will ask, "How you been? Been busy?" And they're guessing what your answer is going to be, but they're also, I feel like they're also subliminally saying the correct response they want to hear from you in a way. I don't know. So I had a couple days, and again, I've got to a point where I'm generally not slow for long periods. When I am, I get these same thoughts like, oh man, it's finally over. This isn't just a dry spell. This is the beginning of the end, that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of stuff will fall in my lap, in the session world, most of what I said about the rhythms of this time of year kind of go out the window. We're busier when people aren't on the road, right? When artists have time to go in and cut records, when they have time to co-write and then go cut songs, that's when we're really busy. And, I think the difference between busy and not busy is a little less exaggerated than it is when you're touring and you're looking at a calendar of dates. Also, as a session player, you are not working with one band, I don't know how many clients I have over the year. I do my own taxes, which is crazy. I'm kind of crazy. I probably, I'm trying to think of how many 1099s and W-2s I type into old TurboTax every year. It's insane. All that to say is, I see clients far more rarely than you would think. Like I might have 40, 50 people who call me and pay me over the course of the year. I might see some of those once a year. I might see some twice. I might see some every other week, or 2 or 3 times a month. I might spend a week with some of them each month, you know? So all that to say, all the rhythms of all those people calling me tend to smooth out the, hey, I'm super busy versus, hey, I don't know what's going on and there's nothing happening. It just doesn't happen very often for me. But I had a couple days in early January. It's still early January, but last week I had a couple days where I was like, wow, I've got no sessions for 2 days. And I also have no songs to work on at home. That's crazy. That doesn't happen. I don't remember the last time that's happened. Well, just as I started thinking that, I got 6 songs, 7, sorry. Maybe it was 6. Now I'm fuzzy. I got a pile of songs all within the span of like 3 or 4 hours one evening. And then I thought, okay, now I got stuff to do, you know. It's been fun. I've been hanging out with my kids and my wife and getting things done around the house, which have been neglected, but now I can get back to work. And I remember something that sweet JT Cornfuss told me, who's one of my favorite guitar players ever. God rest his soul. He said, when looking at your calendar, look back instead of looking forward. Because you will see that even though you had some dry spells, you got through them. And then some busy spells came after that. When you're looking ahead, you don't know what's coming after, you know? Especially if you're not on a touring gig and you can't like look forward to the fall tour months out, you know, like for us, for session players, I'm trying to think of what my furthest out date is that is booked. It's probably mid-February. I might have something for early March. But man, so much of it's last minute. So much of it is they decide to cut and they're like, let's get it done. And they want it completed as soon as you've got done tracking. So, you know, mix engineers, you know, they want it faster than they can actually mix it or whatever. It just seems like it's sort of last minute-ish these days, a little more than it has been. But all that to say, if you're questioning your decision to play music, I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. Just know that you're not alone in that, right? There's a lot of people this time of year who don't have as much going on as they got used to having in the fall. My dog's going nuts behind me. And so it's very normal. And the other thing I want to say is that's an opportunity. That's a gift. You can take the time that you have that you didn't have when you were busy playing music and live your life, you know? Invest in your relationships. Work on the weaknesses in your game, whether that's guitar playing or whatever. So that's all. I think I'm gonna post more this year. I'm really trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, so we'll see what happens. All right, Happy New Year, y'all. See ya.